First here at 6, the Missouri Supreme Court is considering whether it should overturn a law nicknamed Law Enforcement Bill of Rights. Good evening, I'm Lisa Rose. Steve will be back next week. The city of St. Louis is trying to block that law. It specifies what rights officers have when they're the subject of an investigation or review. Missouri Capitol Bureau Chief Joe McLean was in the courtroom as lawyers argued their case.
Once a law is passed in Missouri, there's a rule preventing lawmakers from amending it so much that it changes the original purpose. The city of St. Louis argues that's exactly what happened with Senate Bill 26, passed in 2021. It was a bundle of measures related to public safety, nicknamed the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights. The bill had 88 different sections in it, including adding a criminal offense of unlawful traffic interference, also adding procedures for disciplining an officer. One of the city's arguments is that those procedures created an unfunded mandate, meaning that it creates more administrative work for the city, but not providing any extra state funding.
But the city has sufficiently alleged that it will incur costs to indemnify and defend police officers. And the important point to make here is that the city currently it's discretionary. It was discretionary at the time the board was in control of the police department. It's discretionary now.
The city is also arguing that the law technically creates a new classification of public safety employee for just police, leaving out all other public safety employees. The city had already lost its case in the circuit court, with the judge saying that the administrative work isn't necessarily new and that all those provisions don't necessarily change the whole bill's purpose. The Supreme Court will have to decide whether the lower court made the right call and if this law is constitutional. In Jefferson City, Joe McLean, KY3 News.